Hey everyone. So the question of what does -1 squared equals really comes down to a matter of semantics and understanding the problem with language in general. This is not just a mathematical issue. Now, we tend to get more frustrated with math because we don't really understand why there's all these what seem to be arbitrary rules. However, if you think of an English context, we have equally as arbitrary rules to help us decipher between different meanings of words. Take, for example, the sentence, "I'll be ill with ill," written as such. Now, depending on how you write the word or letters of ILL and what other notation you use with the letters ILL, they all have different meanings. I'll with an apostrophe between the I and the L's means I will. ILL is just a word that means sick, to be sick. And capital ILL could be someone's name or the name of a location, a place, building, proper noun. Okay, so in this case, ill is a person. I'll be ill with ill. Three different meanings for what some students might say is the exact same thing. That's what I often hear from my math students when they see these two versions of -1 squared. They say, well, they're the same thing. Well, not really, because I''ll is not the same as ILL in English, and math has similar rules. Okay? It all comes down really to how a calculator or computer interprets these two problems. When you type in -1 squared to a calculator, like such, it's going to tell you that it equals -1. However, if you use the parentheses, it's going to tell you that it equals +1. Once again, this is just an issue of notation and the calculator interpreting two different problems. So -1 squared, the calculator is interpreting that as you saying -1 times 1, which is -1. So it's only squaring the 1, and it's not squaring the negative. Okay? It's not grouping the negative and the 1 together. Over here, however, the parentheses will tell the calculator to group the -1, the negative with the 1. So in other words, this problem is the same as -1 times -1. Sorry, a little sloppy there, which is +1. All right, and then the last example, which is 2 to the -1st power, is kind of the closest thing I could think of where when you change the way a negative looks or the placement of the negative, it actually gives it a completely different meaning in a calculator. This is similar to how we make capital letters. Capital letters give completely different meanings to words. Capital ILL in the middle or at the end of a sentence is referring to some kind of proper noun or place. It no longer means to be sick. All right, well, so all we did was make one letter capital and it completely changed the meaning of the word. Well, that happens in math too. When we put a negative as an exponent, it doesn't actually mean that the value is negative. What it means is you have to turn this into a fraction where 2 is on the bottom of the fraction. And so 2 to the -1st power is actually equal to 1/2. If you don't understand that, or if you haven't learned that yet in any of your math classes, that's okay. The only point here to understand is that in math, just like the English language, depending on where you put different markings and different notation, it completely changes the meaning of the word. And that happens in math as well. So understanding these minor differences between notation will really help you do a lot better in math. Thanks for watching.